What is up, guys? We are the Extra Point. Today we're going to be doing a Draftkings lineup. We are entering the Monster Energy free 10K fantasy football contest, so make sure you guys enter that. I will put a link in the description. So let's hop right into it. We're going to start at QB. We're going to start from QB and go right down the list as you can see it on the screen. So my QB, I got my mind made up. I'm going to try to cut down on some salary on this one. I am going to take Dak Prescott. Now, Dak Prescott, he completed 73% of his passes last week, and he's going up against the Chicago Bears in Week 3. And we saw last week Carson Wentz light up the Bears defense, and he is also a fellow rookie. So we're going to pick up Dak Prescott. Look for him to have a big day. He put up 18 points last week. I'm expecting him to put even higher numbers up this week with the potential to have a rushing touchdown. All right, now let's move on to running back. Since we saved a nice chunk of money on the QB, it is allowing us to pick up David Johnson. I want to pick up David Johnson because Buffalo's defense is not what it was last year. As we saw last week, the Jets lit up the Buffalo Bills defense. And David Johnson is so effective in the pass game as well. He's pretty much matchup proof. So I'm expecting him to have a huge day on the ground and in the air. All right, after David Johnson, we're going to go ahead and we're going to snag our second running back, and that running back is going to be Theo Riddick up against the Green Bay Packers. I'm taking Theo Riddick because he's already had a solid fantasy start to the season. Now with Amir Abdullah out with an injury, Riddick becomes even more valuable as you get all the carries to go with his high usage in the passing game. The Packers defense is legit, but I'm expecting Theo Riddick to have a good day in fantasy. First wide receiver we are going to take is Allen Robinson. He has had a sluggish start to this season based on the standards that he set for himself last season. With the pressure on the Jaguars to involve Robinson more in the offense, look for him to have his 2016 coming out party at home in Jacksonville. Our next wide receiver we're going to be looking at is Mike Evans. $7,000 salary. I'm taking Mike Evans because him and Jameis have an undeniable, incredible connection with each other, and that's his go-to guy. Last week, he had 17 targets. He only completed 7 catches, but he was up against Pat Pete. That's a really tough matchup. But I feel like against the Rams defense, he's going to have a big day, especially if he's getting that many targets. You cannot go wrong with picking Mike Evans here. All right, guys, next we're going to take a look at Travis Benjamin. He is my favorite for the number 3 wide receiver simply because Keenan Allen is out. He's a big target for Phillip Rivers, and it looks like they got a strong connection going already. He had 2 touchdowns last week. All right, next up, we're going to be picking our tight end. And our tight end we're going to be looking at today is going to be Eric Ebron. I am picking Eric Ebron simply because a lot of trends are in his favor. The Lions tight end has scored on the Packers in each of their last 2 meetings, and the Packers have allowed a touchdown to a tight end in each of their last 2 games. And Ebron scored in Week 1 and had a touchdown called back on a penalty in Week 2. Ebron trails only Marvin Jones in receptions at 9 and receiving yards 100 through 2 weeks. All right, next up in the flex, we're going to be picking up Devontae Parker. I feel like he's going to be a sleeper. He should be in the double-digit target range simply because Arian Foster is struggling to run the ball early, and you're going up against the Cleveland Browns, so I'm thinking he's going to have a big day, and he's also averaging 80 yards in his last 7 games, so solid pick there, pretty easy. And lastly, for defense, we're going to be picking up the Miami Dolphins defense. They're going to be one of the most popular plays of the week, so that's that, but it's going to be a field day for the Dolphins. They have rookie Cody Kessler in playing quarterback for the Browns, and he looked like a mess during the preseason. 3.3 yards per attempt. He ran out of his own end zone for a safety, and now he has to start against a defense that can get after the quarterback and is making its home debut. And Cody Kessler is without his best playmaker, Corey Coleman, who broke his hand in practice. It's going to get ugly for Cleveland. So that's all our picks for DraftKings Daily Fantasy Football for this Sunday, Week 3. Make sure you comment below on what you guys are playing, what you think of this. Hopefully this helps you guys. We're out.